Record. Well, guys, very good seeing you all. Um, we are just past a couple of big shows, really start off our 2025 show season with Kutztown at the first weekend of May, and versus the second week, really. And then the one to follow up was our Spring Brookline. So that's what the meeting will be somewhat dedicated to talk about those things or anything else. But we'll be, we can talk about what people's experiences, what they might have purchased, brought home, anything like that. And we have photos, and we'll focus the photos on, we have some great photos from Kutztown that John Hagman takes. And I was able to locate the photos, and there's some great looking pieces there. But of course, Bob always takes a video, and Bob will also be able to narrate a lot more about what he saw when he was out there. Because I don't know if anyone else besides Bob was there, but if they were, they can certainly chime in. But in terms of the usual kickoff of business, I have some announcements, but not a whole lot coming up very soon. Um, Things will actually kick up again in the mid-June because we will have a Vintage Radio and Communications Museum of Connecticut swap meet right in mid-June from 8 to 1. So if you didn't find you're looking for at Spring Brookline or Kutztown, you have a third opportunity. But wait, there's more. The New England Wireless and Steam Museum fourth annual Wheels and Wireless Car Show. So if you're hankering for some cars instead, and maybe some old wireless radios, and that's the museum is known for, it's also on June 14th, and that runs from 9 to 3 p.m. And on the day that follows on June 15th will be yet another Flea at MIT Swap Fest. So more electronics and ham radio goodies. And so that pretty much is the big stuff coming around to sort of in the corner. Otherwise, there'll be sort of a nothing much going on in early June or late this month that I'm aware of, probably because of the holiday and so forth. But
The big Hamfest in Friedrichshafen, Germany is the
oh,
last weekend in June, and it's gonna be fun. I'll bring pictures.
that's right. So that'd be great. Do your sleuthing, Tom, and go find us some good stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So one day I will join you,
Uh,
and we'll be able to meet up. I'd like to do that at some point. That's on the short list. Plus, there's plenty of good reason to go down to that area beyond just a big radio show, but in a historic hangar where the Zeppelin
yes.
used to be, which is to me, like part of the whole experience.
Yeah, and also you can take a ride in a Zeppelin if you want at the show.
Oh, is that right? Now, you have any idea how much they charge for that?
Yeah, it's pretty high, 300 euros, basically 300 bucks.
Ooh,
But that
okay.
was a couple of years ago. But
Okay.
but you don't have to do that. You can go through the Zeppelin Museum and walk through a 1930s Zeppelin.
Oh,
And
really?
everything. It's just an amazing show. And all the radio equipment that they had in those things. And
Oh.
believe it or not, those things were filled with hydrogen and they used spark transmitters.
That's literally playing with fire to the limit,
Yeah,
right?
literally. Oh God.
That's
You
great.
know?
Shocking.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to, that would be on the short list as well because I love those early 30s dirigibles. And that would be really interesting for me as
Yeah,
well.
the
So
museum is wonderful. I can do a little quick walkthrough for you,
I
just
would
for you
appreciate it.
on the museum if I get there this year.
That'd be awesome. Would love it. Would love it.
Yeah.
That'd be terrific. Um, let's see here. So, in terms of this, is probably the big announcement because we're still, basking in the glow of our recent shows. So I don't have much else. Does anyone have any other announcements besides, of course, the big show in Friedrichshafen that we ought to be aware of that I haven't covered? All right. Hey, Bob, when's the next NJRC meet? I probably don't have that on our calendar, so I got to go recheck your website, but there must be one sometime in the summer. Do you
I
guys?
would think it's the summer swap meet. I think
All right.
that's if that's June or July.
I'll hunt that down. That was just in case you knew off the top of your head.
I've got a full plate right now from day to day, so I just it's getting crazy.
No problem. No problem at all. Well, okay. So I think that puts us at the main event of all these couple of shows. So, yeah, we could do like a round robin if anyone wants to share anything that they might have come home with, or they when they were at the show, what they want, observations or interesting things. Um, I could just kick off just a few words about Spring Brookline in terms of just general. As you know, our weather was a bit dodgy. It held. We actually had never worse than a mist. So we had tailgaters, Tom being one of them, that set up their tents, and we had tailgaters who understandably just didn't bother, didn't show up. We had some tables that definitely, were purchased but didn't make it, and so we're sorry to miss them, but we certainly can appreciate that. Um, but you know what? There were people who, who made it, and they used new ways to keep themselves dry outdoors by, fixing a tarpaulin between their tailgate and a table so you can sneak in behind the tarpaulin or yeah, full-fledged tents Tom you had set up, and I know that Ken, Silvestri and Ross and other people had, just official good, solid tents. So people may do. And of course we had a good solid um show inside the building. A few people did move into the building, seeing the weather forecast, so not surprising there. But there was some, I would say probably, I think the weather probably affected attendance a bit. I think we had good attendance considering the weather, but I'm sure if we had, weather that we should have had, it would have been, better for us. But it's spring seems to be always one of these shows that we kind of roll the dice, the least predictable weather, we get. But that's from just the overall. But I thought we have some great stuff. Between myself and Joe, we'll have lots of photos to share in the coming week or two or so. I've done my editing of my photos, so I will be uploading that to just in future. I took videos. So I took a video of the event and I had to join it. For some reason, I haven't figured out why yet. The new camera still splits it, whether it's based on time, it still splits it. So I just have to take my iPad and join them back together to have one continuous video. And I also trained Jim Bulasak did a terrific job on the soldering clinic. We had two I would say very, young, I would say probably under 20 people join, and a nice gentleman as well. There was like three or four people participating in the yeah, actually, and of course, Bill's 10-year-old grandson was there, learning to solder for the first time. So we had four
Yeah.
people, all young people. So getting into the art of learning to solder. And
Did Tom bring his special soldering gun with
no,
wire feed?
I
we were all the
forgot.
poor. He forgot his
I
and
forgot. Sorry.
I know. Well, I think, but like we talked about last meeting, I think we need a dedicated meeting to this because I think there's going to be a lot of analysis and shock and awe. So I think that having that it will be well worth it. But from my view, and I did film. Hopefully, it'll come out. I had not actually looked before I do any merging and concatenation of video clips. I actually have to look at this stuff and see how well it came out. Um, because I'm still learning the camera a little and sort of its behaviors. This is only the second event I've used it. Um, I had the camera on, I think on high gain. I think I strike that the microphone. I think I probably need to reduce it when I'm outdoors in a quieter event. But I'm inside a building like in Castleton, I have to maximize because there's so much background in that it's hard to have it's easy to have your voice wash out. Even though I'm not that far away. But especially since we had announcements going on and things like that. But overall, I mean, at first I looked at a little bit of one video. It seemed to be okay, but well, I'll look at that. But I did record the soldering. um, uh, uh, training because I thought, okay, it's not so much. It's gonna be hard to really catch the details of unless I'm standing behind him, which I could do in the future, of really, focusing. I think his instructional aspect is really what we'll gain out of this by listening what he has to say, and you may see some of the technique he's demonstrating as well. But I think a lot of the instructional part will still ring true, come out of this. So,
One
um,
of the funny things I saw, John, was he did a demonstration soldering a resistor to a terminal strip, and he handed it around. By the time it got to me, it had broken off, and the resistor was flopping back and forth. And I didn't want to make him feel embarrassed about that, but I said, I think this one could use a little more heat on.
Wow, correcting the teacher in class. I teach a professor, it's admonishing the teacher.
No, 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 no. It was just
No.
in passing.
Yeah, it's the irony, right? The
Yeah,
irony. No, it was
but
it was terrific. Sorry, Tom.
yeah.
Bill, did your son enjoy? I mean, did your grandson enjoy the training?
Oh my gosh, we actually bought him a soldering iron. So he really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
How'd you find it?
Oh, good. Well, that's great to hear. Um, so hey, we can just go around and see what people have to talk about there. I got a couple of pictures I'll show later, a couple of items I came home with. Tom, you had some photos you wanted to share, you said?
Yeah, a couple of things. The show was great. I was going to go to MIT, but I started feeling pretty tired after the show, and it turned out I'd have to sleep in my car again at MIT, and that's really a pain on the streets of Boston. So I looked for a hotel room. Cheapest hotel room in Boston within walking distance of the meet is $608 for a night. So
Whoa.
needless to say, I drove home, but that's pretty rough. I do have a couple of things I'd like to mention about the Brookline show. There is a table there that a lot of people don't bother to look at, and it's a table run by Bill Van Lennep, and his nickname is Van, and he specializes in very interesting military radio equipment. And for the last two shows, he's actually had the top part of a German World War II U-boat periscope on his table. He wanted a bit of money for it. It was about $800, but he sold it at this show. And I don't know, I didn't see who the person was who bought it, but it's a pretty good price for a genuine World War II U-boat periscope. Wonder, did you ever get a picture of that, John, on his table last time? He had it there a couple of times.
I think I did. I think I might have gotten it in at the fall Brookline. I think that was last fall it was
Yeah,
at, wasn't it? I
yeah,
think I did. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I suggested, I remember you were there. I
yeah.
suggested you drill a hole in your Yukon. You could use that, as you're driving along. Oh, periscope. You
Yeah.
check the traffic. Way ahead.
Anyway,
That was cool.
his table was wonderful. Let me just share a couple of things that I think you'll find interesting here. This, can you see that guy?
Sure can.
Okay, this is
What?
whoops, I lost it. Sorry about that. We'll
No
try it
problem.
again. Come back. This is, interestingly enough, a Navy World War II pack set direction finder. And it was sitting, ready for this, hold your breath. It was sitting on the free table.
Oh,
So I put my hand on that as soon as I saw it. And I knew it had come from Van's table. And I asked him, why did you sell this? And he said, he didn't give me a good answer, but why didn't you sell it? I should have asked him. He put it on the free table. So I want to just take you on a tour. This set is so rare. I've never seen one before, and I can't find it on Google, and I can't find it in NavyRadio.com, which is a wonderful website run by Nick England. On the left here, you see a part of the controls. Now I'm going to raise up the direction finder antenna, which is, can you see my arrow at all here, John?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm sort of pointing at that rectangular thing there. And in the next picture, I hope I'm going to raise it up. And as you can see, it swings up, and then you can see a set of contacts there. And when you have it all the way up, those contacts make contact, and it becomes a direction finding set. And apparently you wear this thing on your back and you walk around, and there's a place for headphones. So you use your body orientation to identify the direction that you're looking and that the set is looking. The tuning dial is visible in the side of the set there. And here it is with the antenna fully raised and the contact all made. And there's a picture of the tuning dial. It covers from 1.8 to 21 megacycles. I'll use megacycles because that was what they were in those days. And
Right.
You could tune to any of those frequencies. And once you got the frequency, you would then turn this thing and orient it and pick up the place where the signal was weakest, the null, which is much sharper than the peak of the signal. And you use the null on a direction finder to find the location of the signal. So I couldn't resist looking more closely at it. It's a model CXJA, and you just cannot find that anywhere.
Wow.
And it's made by the Airplane and Marine Instrument Incorporated in something or other, Pennsylvania.
Something
And
Field.
Say again?
Something Field, I think it's.
Yeah, I think so. Clearfield or something like
Maybe.
that.
Yeah, that
And
might
as you can see, it's serial number 9. So maybe they didn't think it was very successful, or maybe it just happens to be an early one. But you don't come across things like this very often
Wow.
at a show. There is another view of it with the back. And this is the power switching and RF gain. You've got an RF gain control and power and the beat frequency oscillator, which makes a tone that you can hear. And that big knob in the middle is the band switch, the switch between the 4 different bands. And so I decided I just couldn't resist. I had to take it out of the case. And by this time, I tracked it back to Van, and he told me about it. I said, what do you put that on the table for? That's so rare. I've never imagined even seeing one of those. And he said, well, wait till you look inside. Somebody's been in there. And sure enough, there were some pieces missing, to say the least. And that's the inside of the case. And that's the battery compartment. And this is the bottom of the circuit board. And you can see that people have taken IF transformers and tube sockets and things out, but the band switch still intact there. And there's sort of a block diagram of the operation of the thing. I'm never going to try and make it work, but it is a museum piece, really, really rare piece of equipment.
Wow.
And
Hey, the hard part's done. All the old pieces are gone. All you got to do is put back nice new ones.
Well, that's
right.
Well,
Sure.
that's where the re-ohming part comes into play.
Re-ohming part, yeah, it's all done.
Make it solid state. I know. So that's the top view showing the contact, and it was just mind-boggling for me. And I've been in contact with a whole bunch of fellow military radio enthusiasts, and they've never seen one before. And to find a radio no one's ever seen before is really a fun experience, especially when it's free.
Wow, you got a really good deal, Tom.
There's a little closer view of the band switch,
Wow.
2.4 megacycles, 5.5, and so on, and another view. Now, I went back to his table, and on his table was another set that just blew my mind. This is a direction finding set that is designed to find a car. And it isn't like you have your cell phone on and they track your cell phone or something. This set has a CRT, a cathode ray tube screen that you can see on the front there, and little closer view of it. And that screen over on the left, the green screen, develops a little pointer that points to the direction at which this car that you're tracking is at that point. So, it tells you either go straight ahead, which would be 0, or turn right or turn left, or go, whoops, you're going the wrong way, go backwards. This is the device that tracks all those cars that you see being tracked in movies and stuff. And if you look in the upper right part of this picture, this is really neat. That is the transmitter with a magnet on it. You just take that transmitter and you just reach inconspicuous. You're just walking by a car, and you just take the transmitter, clunk, you put the thing underneath the car on the frame. Of course, you have to be careful with newer cars because half the car is plastic.
Yeah, I was going to say,
there's
an anachronism.
Slap that baby on the bottom of the car, and then you will know where that car is forever on. And I just think that is an amazing thing to see at a show like this.
Cool.
I did not ask his price. He says, I'm not giving it away, but knowing him, it's probably under $500, which would be a bargain. All the paperwork, all the manuals with it, just an incredible piece of equipment. So I thought you'd all be interested in my experiences there at the free table. I'm going to just live there. I'm going to have coffee served at the free table.
Since we're on the topic of free table, you actually had also grabbed a scanner and gave that to me, a crystal scanner, which I did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So Tom seems to have the knack of finding the goodies off the free table.
Yeah, it was an interesting scanner because it was a Johnson, made by the Johnson Company, and they primarily made ham equipment and some CB equipment. But to find a scanner made by Johnson, it was in the 150 megahertz range. So pretty neat thing.
Yeah, since we're on a topic of that, I'll actually quickly share that photo. Because I do have it in front of me here.
While you're looking, let me just ask Russ. You can, if you look at Russ's picture up there. Oh, okay, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, oh, sorry. Here it is. It's in. You can tell it's been well used. It even has that classic, label maker from the classic red with the white. You can tell it's straight out of the 70s, right? Or 60s.
Diebold.
It works, but it's got all sorts of weird behaviors and problems. So it suggests that's perhaps explain why it is on the free table. But I'm gonna open her up and have a closer look and see what's going on. See if I can get a manual how this thing operates, because it was doing some strange things. I was trying what seemed to be intuitive things I would be doing to a scanner, like applying my knowledge of the Regency and the Bearcats to this, and it didn't seem to apply. But either there's a different logic behind it, or it really is unhealthy. I'm gonna. Sorry.
What are the towns there? I think I see Holyoke and Hampton.
Hampton. I assume for Holyoke, because that's how
Hampshire.
West, Midwestern, Massachusetts there, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I know that's Hampton, Massachusetts, or New Hampshire. I'm not sure which, but I'm thinking Hampton because that's not super far away from Holyoke. And then I see area fire department. What's it say? Something cross, Old Cross. I have to go look at it. And Intercity.
I think that says
Gold
Cross.
Gold Cross.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't tell whether that was a G on it. Thank you.
I've heard of Red Cross, but what's Gold Cross?
And then there's like Intercity State Police, Mutual Aid. So there's a bunch of stuff on there. So I have to open this up. But you know what? It was free. The great thing about free is something else. It gives you something to play with. Even if you decide, it can go back to the free table. It's sort of, think of it as a temporary ownership. And who knows? Maybe you say, well, maybe I'll hold on to it longer than I think I will. But
yeah, if it's free, it's for me.
Yeah. Well, the thing, I know the on-off switch is broken because it doesn't turn off. It's so there's that's fixable ultimately, I'm sure. But
who
I'm gonna
want to turn off a scanner. It should always be scanning.
Well, maybe that's the logic. But they said, like, forget it. Maybe that's Johnson's logic. It's, who wants to turn it off? You just plug it in, leave it on, you know.
There
But
were a couple of people in the marketing department when I was working at Hewlett Packard and, the test equipment side. After a few customer visits, it was like, we could save some money if we just didn't put on off switches on any of the equipment, because most of the customers that we sold stuff to was like, oh no, we never turn that off. It's on all the time, 24/7. It's like, well, what the heck do we waste money on a switch for?
So there's a fire, and then all of a sudden your company gets sued because there was no way to turn it off.
Yank
Yep.
that cord.
So, John, the other thing I was thinking would be fun would be to hear from Russ. He picked up that 75A4 receiver, Collins receiver that you see over his left shoulder there. And when he keeps giving us progress reports as he works on it. How are you doing with it now, Russ?
Haven't had much time on it, Tom, lately. Although last night I fired it up just to listen on the bands a little bit. I mean, so it does work, not all that well in some places. So next thing that I have planned is just go through and do a little alignment on it and see if that perks it up a bit.
Sounded like you were it was a band switch problem initially. The contacts were not too good.
That's what I thought. I've cleaned them a couple times just to be thorough, and but I am picking up more than I was when I first got it. So
Right.
I think it has hope, has life.
Thanks.
Over the years, I've learned to refrain from using phrases like firing it up.
Hey, Russ, did you run into Gary there? Because I was telling Gary about your, new Collins acquisition. And I said you may be jealous, but
Gary, no, I don't know that. Yeah.
because I told him to go find you, and maybe he never did. Because I think when I pointed out to where your table was, you were not there, and I can't remember whether you left or you just, walked away for a bit.
Yeah, I might have been shopping a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. There's any, as you should. But yeah, no, it was that was good stuff. Hey Bob, why don't you tell us about Kutztown? I was telling some posts, but what was your like? Did you come away with stuff? How was the show?
It was wet,
I was going to say
cold,
it
and
looked
windy
cold.
Friday, but it was so much fun. It ends up by the time you get done with Friday and Saturday, I was so tired. I just I think I slept for like 12 hours overnight. But it was so much fun, and despite the weather on Friday, there was still pretty good turnout. I was really surprised. The thing I think that more people were wondering about more than anything this year was they went to a different time format. To give you the short end of the stick, they used to have a Thursday night thing where they would have a big bonfire and drink beer, and there was always the big dogs coming with a rented Enterprise or U-Haul truck full of stuff that they were going to fill up and bring back to whatever. I mean, I have a neighbor that he lives in, I want to say Minnesota, but it's somewhere in that area. And I see the guy every fall and every spring, and he used to have his own truck, and then he just decided to rent a truck. It was easier and cheaper for him to do that than own a truck. And those guys would do all kinds of stuff, wheeling and dealing on Thursdays. But the unfortunate thing is that the people that host the event, now DVHRC kind of oversees and runs it, but the people that own the property that the campies are on and everything, it's a place called Renninger's. And it's a family, and they're super nice people. But as I said in my video, I don't know if you watched the video, it's a business. And what happened is that they had a gaggle of people there on Thursday night, and how do you go to your insurance company and say, well, I have a bunch of old men here, they're exchanging cash and stuff for old radio equipment, drinking beer and having a bonfire. Well, you're not, how do you put an insurance value on that?
What could possibly go
I
wrong?
mean, I didn't say it to be funny. That's a fact. But that's what they do. And as if you're running a business, that's a real cost thing, and they had to cut that out. So there was negotiations going on between DVHRC and Rangers, and they just came to, okay, here's what we're going to do. So this year, what they did was they opened up they did it. My only gripe about opening up on Friday is I think they did it a little bit too late. And that's kind of how I was getting feedback from other people about this. They used to open up at, I think it was 6 o'clock, give the vendors 2 hours to set up, because some of these guys had lots and lots of stuff. I mean, I'm only loading stuff out of my small SUV and, onto my tables, my two tables. But there was guys that just had lots and lots of stuff, big consoles and, trucks with lift gates and just big heavy stuff all coming out. This year they decided to unload at, I think, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and they only gave you an hour to unload, and then they opened up the gates at 9. And I think that kind of took a little bit of away from that. So maybe in the fall, between now and the fall, they'll change that. So there was a lot of I don't want to waste all the time on this, but Saturday was another thing where they wanted to encourage people, the vendors particularly, to stay later, because usually Saturdays by 12 o'clock it was done, and there was very few people coming around. So this time they did the same thing. They wanted to open up a little bit later, and I actually saw more people staying there later, vendor-wise, and I saw more customers staying there later, customer-wise. And I think it went from 9 to 3. I stayed till about 2, because right around 2 o'clock it was like a ghost town, and people were, walking around talking to each other and packing up their things. So I just said, all right, I'm done. So that was better, but it didn't match up with, the hours they were looking for, because some of the input that the DVHRC guys got was, well, I can't show up on Friday because I'm still 40, 50 hour a week guy or lady. I can't make it. I just, couldn't do it. So there was a lot of changes in scheduling and things like that this year. So, but all in all, it still went pretty well. So I think they're going to probably fine tune it between now and September. But, I don't know what you guys experience at your events when it comes to timing and things like that. And this is just, we're basically, we're fossils doing, antique electronics and antique radios and things like that. So it's kind of a narrow window for kids today that want to play with their iPad and build computers and, things like that. So
well, as time goes on, I think it gets to be one of those, the mind is willing, but the body is not able. So like a lot of those pre-party or pre-event parties, impromptu things don't go on that much anymore, because people don't have the energy to do it and then do the show that comes after it. And then also the stamina to drag it out and stay later. So things are getting compressed. That's what I'm
saying. I that's a good point, though. And I surprised myself, because I'm still kind of getting over my sick problem, and I just judge myself by my energy level. I was able to do both days, and then when Sunday rolled around, I was toast. I was like in front of the TV all day. I didn't even have the energy to go downstairs and start going through my stuff. And now, the only thing I did that following Sunday was make the initial Kutztown video. I just grabbed my MacBook Pro and pieced that together and got it up on. By the way, I mean, this is the amazing thing as a YouTube creator. Now, I'm not like some of these guys like Whistle and Diesel and these people that get millions and millions and millions of looks. I've done 29 Kutztown videos since 2010. This past video, I think the last time I looked, I have 8,100 views.
Wow.
That's more than any video I've ever done. I just, for giggles, I went onto my page to see how much money I was making. And I think that Sunday, from all the looks I got, I made something like $11, which is big money for YouTube, for somebody that's, doing content that's a really narrow window. So I was kind of happy about that. And my wife helped me out with the camera. My wife walked around with the camera while I was helping people find tubes and parts and all kinds of stuff. So it was a home run all the way around. It was great time. If you could get out there, I saw Carl. Carl Nord. He was there.
Oh, yeah. He said he was all over the place. Yeah.
So it was good to see Carl. Of course, it's tough to try to get his boat across all that dry land there. I think he took his truck or his car.
Well, though the rain we're getting, that might actually not be a problem anymore.
But part of the fun for me is that not only I'm seeing things that I enjoy in big numbers, but the interactions with everybody. I people know me from my channel, or it's like I'm here with you guys and everything. It's just great to see everybody and talk to everybody. It's just a big social gathering, and it's good.
I have two questions. One is, were both buildings full?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, the last year, both spring and fall, both campies were full. There were a few absences. There was a few empty tables this year. When I say empty, I would say, if I'll put it in a percentage to make life easier, I would say that the tables were probably about 80 to 85% full both days. And I think some of that was the weather might have been a deterrent because of the mini rainstorm that we had and the wind and all that. But there were two people that I know of that probably just decided not to go because they eliminated Thursdays. So it's like I say to friends, and I've had conversations with my wife about this kind of thing. Think about when you're a child and you're going over to your friend's house to play in the sandbox. Well, the minute you go over to your friend's house to play in the sandbox, you have to remember that it's his sandbox, not yours. So if you're going to do this event and there's two groups of people that are doing all this, you have to go by the rules, and that's all this. If it doesn't make you happy, then don't go. But I think the majority of the people said, okay, we'll still do it. So that just kind of states the people really enjoy going to this event. I know I do. I mean, you can't please
the other question I have is whether they allowed any tailgating outside the building. I mean, if you
I'm
wanted
sure
to
that
sell,
there's always deals and like that going on.
But I mean, could you set up a car outside the building and sell off your tailgate?
No.
Oh.
No, they have too many people walking around. This year was particularly funny because Friday when we got there, what they did was I pulled up like 2 minutes before they were going to open the doors. Well, when I'm driving my car somewhere here in New Jersey or anywhere, and I get in a traffic jam, I just have a name for this. I say to my wife Sharon, I said, "Okay, here's the conga line. We're going to be in the conga line for a while. So you move 10 feet, stop." It's like you're doing a conga at a wedding or something. So it was the same thing at Kutztown, because what they did was they didn't want to let anybody in before they were going to, 8 o'clock or whatever the opening time was. So I show up at 2 minutes to 8. Next thing you know, I'm like 70 cars ahead of me. So I'm watching the conga line going in. And then we got in there probably about 10 after 8 or whatever. So, but it was okay. I was all right with that. I was even out of my car and walking around other cars of people I know and just joking around, and so it's all good.
Yeah.
One thing that perturbed me about the loss of Thursday was I had been thinking that I, potentially would go, but I wanted to cut expenses, so I was planning on camping this time instead of getting a hotel. And now there's no place to camp on Thursday night. And driving from Boston, I'm not doing that on Friday morning. So
that was all discussed. Steve, that's a great point. I didn't bring it up, so thank you for raising.
Well, I'd be anxious to hear of any other options for dealing with that situation. I mean, I don't think there's really any campgrounds around.
Steve, I used to camp at the airport and just ask them, is it okay if I set up over here in the corner of the parking lot? And that was always okay, right nearby there.
Yeah, I'd be one needing to set up a tent, though.
Yeah, well, I did the same thing. I put up a tent occasionally.
Wow.
It's a very friendly area, and very friendly diner at the airport and all that. I used to fly in. That was another thing, but not always. And if you flew in, you could just walk through the woods over to the show.
Well, if you're lucky, you get really close to the end of the runway, get a good blast of an engine or something. I'll wake you up, or at least warm you up, maybe. But
I'll get to talk to. I don't talk to the Rangers personnel, the family. I mean, I do, but I not to debate or how they're doing things or whatever. That's entirely done by the DVHRC officers and like that. But I will, I'll see them between now and September and discuss some of the things and some of the. They'll probably ask me for feedback anyway. So that's actually a good piece of feedback for the, can we do camping or whatever now? Maybe because of the insurance they didn't allow the camping this year. So I don't know.
No, yeah,
I don't know if there's a plan B for that.
I guess even if they let you, park in their lot and sleep in your car, and that would.
I asked them at Brookline. I usually sleep at the airport right near the show in Brookline, but I asked them last time whether it would be okay to camp in the corner there before the show, and there's no problem. Yeah. So if anybody wants to camp at Brookline, that's easy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think the thing that maybe they're worried about is, and it becomes a trust thing, is that they used to start a big bonfire. They were taking radio carcasses and starting big bonfires, and they have an old refrigerator that's actually got it's almost like a wrap, like on race cars nowadays. They don't even paint race cars anymore. They put like a wrap on it. All right. Well, they have an old refrigerator with a wrap that looks like I think it's a 25 or 26 tube Zenith Stratosphere, but it's actually a kegerator. So the guts inside the refrigerator are built to put a big, beer keg in the thing, and then there's a spout coming out the side to keep your. So who's to say that we'll let people camp there, and then all of a sudden they start bringing their own beer or whatever, So it becomes a two-sided coin. I get that.
Insurance and other things come into play, yeah.
So I'm sure that the DVHRC, they may sit down with me. I don't know when. They'll, just like you guys are asking me now, I can give them feedback. And again, it's like I said, it's their sandbox to play in. And, we can make comments and suggestions, but, ultimately it'll be a negotiation between Rangers and DVHRC. So we'll see how that goes. I still love the event. I think it's just great. Still, there were a lot, and here's the thing too. Despite I know that there were two people that I know on a personal level that weren't there, and I think they just got mad at the Thursday thing. But I also saw at least a half dozen new groups of people that were there that I've never seen before. Like if you watch my video, Kutztown video, you see that young man with all the wind-up Victrolas. And he actually sent me a personal email and he said, I thank you very much for putting your video and all this stuff. And he that's his hobby. He actually restores crank up Victrolas and he restores old 78 records. And I thought that was wonderful. The guy's probably in his late 20s. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Does he do YouTube, Bob?
I'm sorry?
The 78 guy, does he have a YouTube channel? Because there's a heck of a lot of people that do things with the 78s.
I only got an email. Well, it wasn't an email. It was just a comment on the video about it. And,
okay.
He was just, thank you for all that. So I think he might just be doing that on the side. And I don't know if he has a regular job or if he's just doing that on the side or just doing that for grins and giggles. I have no idea where he's coming from. I just kind of, it was a spur of the moment thing. I stopped there and said, wow, look at all these nice Victrolas. And, I'm seeing 78 records that didn't have a speck of dust or dirt on. I'm like, oh my God, this person's serious. And I see this young guy and he was really cool. Like even though if you looked at the one thing, he was getting ready to, he saw me with my camera and he says, all right, listen, I'll do this so that you can do the cuts and everything. So he says, okay, 1, 2, 3, and cut. All right, start the film. I just never did. I just got, all right, go ahead, just do it. So
was the antique market open also?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and Friday night there was an auction which I didn't attend because I just I don't have that kind of energy yet because I drive home from this too. So it's like hour and 50 minutes there, do the whole thing, and then go home and then come back the next day. And because I can't convince my wife to sleep in the car, and she's I'm not gonna. Even the hotels around that area are about $250, $300 a night. And I'm not going to do that. So
is the antique radio guy still open in the antique sale area?
the gentleman that used to run the Kutztown radio store,
Yeah.
he passed away last year.
Wow.
And he was really a great guy. I didn't know him that well, but we could sit down and talk about old radios and old radio repair. And he was a very bright guy. So what's happening is in that little mall there, the Kutztown radio store is still there, but that's been taken over by John and Darren, who are both members of NJARC and DVHRC like me. They took over, the guy's name was Louis, and they took over Louis' store. So they're paying rent to renters and everything. And Louis was kind of a quirky guy. He wouldn't let some things happen, and he let other things happen. Like Louis was not a ham radio guy by any stretch of the imagination. So he didn't like the idea of ham radios coming into Kutztown, and it took a few years to kind of make him flex a little bit. And then he started, letting that happen. And now you're seeing bone anchors all over the place. So, but Louis was a very, very bright guy. And he actually had some, the last couple of years, some pieces out of his own collection, some really rare early stuff. I'll give you an example. If you're a $3 guy, and I'm not really that big of a $3 guy. I have an AK-20. That's the farthest I go with my antique radios. But he had a $3 that was it was regen, and it was from the radio station WLS in Chicago. And WLS stood for World's Largest Store because it was a huge store in Chicago, and they manufactured these $3 radios. And Louis had one, and even the tubes that were in there, all the O1As were on the base, they were engraved WLS. So he had that radio, but I don't even remember what the number was he wanted. It was in the 4-digit range. But someone bought it. I couldn't buy it. I love that radio, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
But that's how Louis was. Louis was a really bright guy. He had a Zenith, real early, like I think a 20 Zenith, and the thing was huge. It had push-pull 50s in it or whatever. And that was in an auction, I think, last year. And it didn't go for a lot, unfortunately, because it was just such a large radio. And I guess it was a tough thing to get that in the car. Mm-hmm. That thing had push-pull 50s in it. So somebody may have bought it to get at the 50s. I don't know. So it's a wonderful event. I don't want to keep wasting all your time and me blabbing here. But,
no, that's okay.
It's really, really a wonderful event. I think, some of you guys have been there. Joe, you've been there a couple times.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I didn't live too far from it. So,
yeah,
I took a day off every year.
And I just noticed something. I see Carl here. Hey, Carl, can you hear me?
Ahoy, Carl.
I can. My camera's not working, but that's okay. You guys.
Well, that's okay. We know what you look like. Are you on the boat?
No, not yet. No, it's been too cold.
Cold.
No, I told him that I saw you. We're talking about Kutztown right now. I don't know when you joined in. I wasn't that observant, but I said I saw Carl there, but I didn't see the boat.
Well, we could have used it the first day. Hey, Bob, did you go to the auction?
No, I did not, and I didn't mention what was in the auction. What was in the auction was the usual fare, but this time they had a lot of really high-end audio gear. And I wish I could have had the energy to record some of that because there were some really nice pieces.
I actually was intrigued by a low-end piece of audio gear, that very old Heathkit, I think it was an A4 or something amplifier. I'd never seen that. I've seen the A7 a lot, but I've never seen the A4 before. And I wondered what that finally went for, but I wasn't going to.
I have no idea what any of that stuff went for. I'm still trying to get over my sickness here, where I'm just not. I don't have the energy to sit there for an hour or two and try to, then go home and then come back the following morning. So.
Yeah, your lovely bride was telling me about the winter you had. I'm sorry to hear about it. But
I'm here. I'm actually getting better. I'm starting to wean off the medication a little bit. I'm on my third round of meds, and they're getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And hopefully, by the time I get done with this, I'll be a regular guy again. So
Good. Okay. I didn't mean to take over the call here.
no, not at all. No, it was nice to see you, Kutztown. It was great. I wish we
Good to
had.
see you. I got to talk to your wife, which I always like. You and I didn't get to talk, but I got the better part of the deal.
Yeah, she probably told you some of the maniacal things that I do and getting ready for the event and everything. That's why you guys, as a matter of fact, you guys had your last meeting. I'm sorry I couldn't make it, but I was preparing for Kutztown. I had so much to do.
Oh,
So
no problem.
just
Understandable, Bob.
things.
We can take a hint. No, it's not a problem. No, yeah, you're usually a regular here, but
So anyway, that's
but
pretty much the story, and I think they're going to take the current state of hours and things that go on, and they'll try to fine tune it, and then once I'm aware of any of that changes, I'll make it. I'll leave it out to you guys. So
yeah, I have to agree with one of your earlier points, Bob, about just the experience of seeing everybody. To me, that was like the highlight of going to Spring Brookline, just catching up with everybody because we only get to see each other 3 times a year, given that we're spread out amongst 6 New England states, or so sometimes it's hard to see each other more frequently than that, unless it's by just sheer luck. So it was really good to do that. So the social component is really to me by about 75% of it, and then the rest is maybe coming home with a couple of goodies or whatever, or just taking photos or whatnot. So I agree.
I see that happening in like some of the old car things I go to now too. It's definitely more about the people than it is about the bench racing and talking about, what your last quarter mile time was or how you rejetted your carburetor. It's more like, so, how's your wife? How are the kids? How are the grandkids?
don't get me started. No, I'm full of car stories too.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
No, that's going to be that John's taking care of that.
That's going to come. I apologize. I haven't followed up on that just because I was busy enough with other personal items. Plus, also I wanted to have a chat with Bob just as though the game plan was going to be there. So I'd like to get things. I'm going to send a general email out to solicit interest, but form a subgroup. That way, it's very limited. To just basically opt in, and then I suspect they're going to try to shoot for like June, like probably towards like the end of every month. So maybe sooner, but that's roughly, and then probably a Thursday, because for me, I think of all the days, it seems like there's no one had a particularly good or bad day. So Thursday is the day I'm sort of shooting for. And that way the Thursdays work for me generally because I can get home from work in time to still grab a bite to eat and run the meeting on a Thursday. But Tuesdays are really tough. That's why Tuesday I kind of took off the list because I'm usually not getting home till 7 at the earliest. Anyway, yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. I will try and get that out, maybe even this weekend if I can. That would be sort of an ideal case.
No
But
pressure.
oh yeah, no, we'll do that. Sort of the mystery here is that we're going to have like a spin-off, though the Zoom meetings that you see today will be continuing. It's really, we all enjoy it. I love having these. It's great, and so focus on our core stuff. But we have what I call the fringe electronics that have maybe a car or an aircraft or a boat or a ship, whatever thing is a component where we might talk about not only maybe the radio in the car, the vehicle, but also maybe talk about the car itself or whatever. So this would be a fringe thing. Might talk about electric trains, not into that. No, it might be whatever comes up, but it won't be that structured because it's meant to be the relaxing hangout. And what I'll do is I'll probably put an invite out for anybody in the club who wants to join. Of course, you're welcome because it's not exclusionary. It's just meant to say this is not our core area, but we have enough pent up discussion talking about fringe things that are still cover a lot of vintage electronics, maybe not the core stuff that we sort of think about on a regular basis, like a radio in the household as opposed to a radio in a car or something like that. So that is sort of the plan. And also I don't plan, unless I'm asked to, I don't plan to record it, but I can. And if I do, I'm going to post this unlisted. And that way, the only way you can see it is because I will share the link to the email list. And that way there's no confusion in the public about what our core stuff is, and I don't want to add to that. It's just this is optional. This is just a fun brain dead talk about the tangential things that we all have pent up in our things, and we have to talk about cars. That's fine too. So everyone is welcome. Of course, that like any other Zoom meeting, it's just I'm going to make it more of a semi fly under the radar style. But stay tuned on that. But the other Zoom meetings will be as we always do, that they always take priority. This is more of a side gig. But at any rate, let's see, why don't I maybe share some photos from Kutztown from John Hagman's so we can see some of the good stuff. There was some good stuff to be seen, so why not show some of that? So just give me 30 seconds or less just to get that up and ready to go.
I've known John for a number of years. We see each other now, and he came over to me and said, he wanted to know how I was doing, and his photography. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not much of a photographer. I've got a Panasonic Lumix camera that I go around and do my videos with. But John's got real photography and real cameras, and he does a really super nice job in taking pictures of things going on.
He does.
That has to be Saturday because I see sunlight.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. Let me close that up. Okay, there we go. That was a little pilot error.
I was struck. I saw someone posted it was more of a movie rather than pictures.
Right.
It wasn't Bob's. I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah.
I've been here now a little more than 2 years, but less than 3. And I was struck like how much my brain has forgotten about things like, wait a minute, this is like Pennsylvania. This is not New Hampshire. And this is like just a week or two ago in May. Why is everyone like bundled up the way they are? I mean,
I know.
I've been in shorts and t-shirts since like, the end of February down here. And I'm like,
well, Saturday was sunny, but it was still windy, and it was only, I think, like 54 or 55 degrees. So, it was cold enough to chill beer if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. It was chilly on our event as well, Bob. So it seems to be Mother Nature says the vintage electronic shows shall be cool and rainy this spring.
That just tells you plug everything in and turn it on, generate some heat.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's why I fire up all these things, warm up the place. But here's a nice panoramic. I'm sure there'll be better photos as we move ahead. But there's got a variety of solid state and tube of varying kinds, but now look at that, Dad. Look at that Philco. That's a pretty set.
There are some really nice Philcos there, done consoles.
That's really pretty. I'm not sure what that model is, but boy, that all of the cosmetically looks terrific. And the grill cloth, everything looks great on that.
No 5-foot tall Crosleys.
Oh my God. Well, look at that. Now this is let's take a look and see. Oh, come on. A golden tone.
Wow.
Ooh. Now I've never seen a golden tone before, but look at the woodwork on this. Wow, that is a pretty radio. That's so very attractive. I mean, look at all the artwork and just in the woodwork alone is worth it. Forget about whether it even has sound.
They did a nice job in emulating that dial. It looks almost like an Atwater Kent dial.
Yeah, I mean, wow. That is just beautiful. Beautiful. It's work of art, craftsmanship. Oh, now look at this. Now, is this a Philco? No, Silvertone. Silvertone? No, Air Castle. I was confused. I thought that was Air Castle. Well, that's pretty too.
Nice dial face.
Yeah.
Nice eye tube with a over it.
Look at that, everybody. Yeah, that's a beautiful.
Set buttons and everything.
Yeah, I like this. That's very attractive. Very attractive. I have no idea what they're asking. It's probably hard to tell, but all right, now we got lots of speakers and some earlier sets. This is kind of interesting. What is that?
Zenith, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like a newer version of the racetrack Zenith.
70s version or something? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It almost begs to be solid state. I mean,
I have
maybe
no
it's
idea what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks solid.
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's solid state too. I don't think there'd be tubes in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like one of those Japanese AA5 radios on top of that white thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a knockoff. Oh, right. That
Like a Jewel or something like that.
AMD,
Yeah.
it says. Is this AMD? No, it can't be right. Is that AMD? It kind of looks like in the red right here, up here. Yeah, the upper left corner. I don't know.
I can't quite make it out.
Yeah. Some
I
nice
believe
looking
that's an
pieces.
Atwater bullet.
Sorry?
I believe that's an Atwater Kent below it.
Wow, that's nice. Look at that one behind this strange knockoff. I mean, look at just the scallop with it all. Gosh, that almost looks a lot, almost looks like that, that golden tone. Maybe it is a golden tone,
Clock radio, but it should be like a cuckoo clock radio or something.
Hey, John,
does anybody have one of those? Is there a cuckoo clock radio? That would be something special.
That would be pretty cool.
The
What was
one
that,
in
Joe?
the center in the back, it looks like it has a clock in the center.
Yes, I think you were right. Yes, you are.
That'd be funny to have a cuckoo clock radio that would only pick up CHU and WWV.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a hoot?
I'll go on a very short tangent.
Hoot? It would have to.
It would be. On a quick tangent, there's a episode of The Big Bang Theory. Admittedly, I gravitate to that show, and there's a funny episode where there's a Star Trek themed cuckoo clock where there's a little Spock and he pops out, live long and prosper, live long and prosper. I said, I gotta have that. I'd love to have that. Anyway, sorry, it just burned this cuckoo clock thing in that episode.
Sorry, just because you went there, I'm going to say I saw something, a meme type thing this past weekend where it was Spock holding his hand up saying, "Do not play with super glue."
By the way, this over here is Tiny Spock, so he's looking at you.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Here's a little bit better. There we go. That is a nice. Oh, look at that itchy. Wow, look at that piece in the center. Just because it catches your eye with with sort of this golden yellow inset.
It almost looks like a wooden version of the Westinghouse refrigerator radio.
Yeah. It's one of those on steroids.
Yeah. Sub-Zero edition.
Yeah, the Sub-Zero version of the Westinghouse.
But look at this thing up here too.
Chill your beer and you can listen to the ball game simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a Radiola 26.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah, that one on the right there.
Good call, because I was not even sure what this.
So I saw another picture of it, so that's the same radio.
I see.
It's not coming out very well in that. That's a little RCA portable, the thing with the round.
That's one right here.
On it.
Oh,
no,
it's Emerson.
Portable,
This is Emerson. That's quite nice, actually. Nice.
Yes.
And then what do we got?
4-2 battery portables.
What do we get then?
Bob, did you see that RCA portable? It looked something like the one right here, the wood one, with the built-in loop antenna that was part of the front cover for it.
I don't think I did. I think I might miss
maybe
that.
we'll come across it. I mean, it was either done by a very good woodworker or uh, uh, factory. It was hard to tell, but it
Mm-hmm.
just very neatly covered up the whole front of a 20 set, and there was a battery compartment and a speaker, and it attracted me a little,
Mm-hmm.
but not enough to buy it.
Now I have to buy it.
Let's do some good stuff. But there's plenty of space in that wagon, Carl. See,
Yeah, there's not plenty of space in the house. That's the problem.
details.
Couple of big light
Yeah,
Emersons
it says,
there.
yeah. Some nice
Not
stuff.
sure what that cathedral is by that guy's arm. I want to say RCA, but not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an RCA because it's got the offset knob on it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
they have one knob for the bands. They decided to add that in, didn't know where to put a knob for it. So
Very interesting. Good stuff.
Nice mix of stuff on that table.
Take a look at
Oh,
this.
that thing sold quick.
Look at that. I've never seen of the one of that configuration.
Oh, that's great.
That's really
I
nice.
think that's a 15 tube.
52. Yeah.
How many speakers?
Shutter dial.
Yeah. Look at that.
Some young guy bought it.
Wow, that's it's in solid shape.
The first time I saw it, I already had a sold sign on it.
Wow. Well, you don't see that style very often because usually they're tall and narrow. This one's more
right. No, that's got room for like a pair of 12s in the bottom or something, or 115 or something.
Yeah, I guess whoever could afford that back in the day, they probably hid their money in there.
Yeah.
Just away from the tubes.
That
had to be an expensive radio.
Or if
that cabinet.
The cat would go back and live inside of it.
I think the 15 tube models there were two chassis on it too.
Wow, that's quite the piece.
That's impressive.
I think the first one I recall seeing of that particular style.
Hey, I have a question about shutter dials. So it's the same thing as a robot dial. What's the difference?
Right. Yep.
It is?
I think it's one and the same. It's
okay.
One and the same.
Thanks.
I have two of them. I have a 9-tuber and I have a 12-tuber, but I don't have a 15.
Yeah. The piece. Okay.
There's Rudy on the left. He sells a lot of T-shirts, cool old Buzzard T-shirts with different brands on them.
Got
Good
it.
guy. He's been there for years and years and years and years.
Little TV.
Little Pilot TV. I guess you never
Yeah.
saw one.
Pilot radio.
There's at least one of those at every show.
Yeah. It's a combined Pilot radio and TV and maybe can opener.
No can opener now. Come on. I've got the market cornered.
Yeah, you do. You may be the only one in this country with one.
Looks like maybe a Sherwood tuner sitting out in front there on top of the blue.
Oh yeah, you may be right. Maybe we'll see a better photo later. All right, here's a Zenith right here.
I don't know why I don't know if that's right or I think somebody painted that black.
I wonder.
I think that's a 1935 Zenith 5S29. I used to have one of them, but it was I think somebody painted that.
My grandmother had a Stromberg Carlson that was not quite that dark, but it was, you couldn't see any wood grain whatsoever, and it just looked like it had been painted or heavily shellacked or varnished. And I was only like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, but I pulled all the guts out of it, and my dad went after it with the belt sander followed by the regular sander. There was some fantastic, beautiful wood grain underneath, and he stripped that thing down, and then what was it called back in the day? Fabuloy or something like that. Fabuloy, cabinet just came out great, and it was like my first tube jockey capacitor changer as a 12 or 13-year-old. And Nano's Stromberg Carlson never looked better and never sounded better. It was great.
Look at the way he jazzed up the knobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this Zenith over to the left is much more intriguing. I mean, look at the wood.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that looks like
That's
a nice set.
chair
That's-
side or something, right?
yeah. I think
John, can you zoom in on the knobs?
I can. How's that? It's well, hopefully I can get a better shot. I think I'm at limit. I'm at the limit. Now maybe there's a better shot later. Sorry.
Can you drag it up?
It looks like they're all like multi-function.
Let's see. Hold on.
It looks like it should be black. I don't see any crazing on it. The finish is relatively even.
Yeah, that's a special Zenith. They had one that was painted black, and they had one that was painted white.
Maybe this is a legitimate factory.
Yeah.
The Rolling
It's
Stones.
just that one knob doesn't belong there.
I see what you mean. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the other one, Joe. When you were talking about we were talking. Okay, got it. Yeah, these whoops. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, the knobs look a little bit slightly off there, but this one right here, obviously. Yeah, you may be right. This may be legit. Like another.
Maybe that was the Al Jolson Signature Series Zenith.
No. It's the Rolling Stones version.
Now, if you look at the skirt on the bottom,
and I want to paint it black.
Who knows? Look at that. We get serenaded
on the bottom trim.
Yeah. The other thing.
And it looks like primer underneath it. So
yeah.
Different
description too.
Yeah, notice that because this is intriguing. I've never seen this style. The overall, everything about it is different. Like, you don't see it's atypical Zenith.
Maybe it is supposed to be black because usually that piece would be brass.
Right.
No.
Or silver.
I've never seen anything like that before. I thought somebody just Earl Scheib the thing, Pay any Zenith, $9.95.
Radio equivalent of a rat rod, you don't know.
Yeah, it's like Resto Mod, in there is a solid state.
Oh, I think RCA had a black
players in the back.
Was that Joe? Greg?
I said RCA had a black one that year too. That's a 36 Zenith, I think.
Interesting. Well,
I forget who the designer was. There was some special designer had those black radios.
Very interesting.
I wonder if that still had the 3-color dial though, in the back where they had the green, the red, and the yellow.
Oh, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it's a neat radio. Maybe much more intriguing than we think.
I mean, they did some beautiful pianos like that back.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, that's right. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Got the nice bomber Zenith TO, $450. Looks to be pretty terrific shape. Nice Firestone Air Chief right below it. That's very nice.
Yeah, that GE atomic radio on the bottom.
Yeah, that's a 408.
Two GE radios
I have
there.
one of those. Plays great.
Yeah, I have a couple as well that need some work, but they play reasonably well. And I love the dial face on these, especially when it's lit up. You see, the only problem is they melted a lot because they use these 10-watt bulb, 10-watt bulbs. So it's
I put an LED in there.
There you go.
Yeah, but they're cool because they also remind me of from that era, many the style of many speedometers of early 50s cars used the hemispherical speedometer that lasted through probably, especially the early to 54. So a lot of Ford and and GM, Chrysler, a lot of them used that. And
Excuse me, I would say 62.
62.
In terms of the year, how long they went with that.
Oh, really? The hemisphere? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that's true. The big bubble. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You're right. So they really carried forward. So to me, that's like, if anything, it looks, especially when it lit up, it's a nice bright light on this. So it's fun in many ex visual
Make
and
it
audio
be
experience.
make it be electroluminescent.
Oh man, that would be the
Oh, that's my friend Aaron walking out of the porta john there.
TMI.
Oh, I'm gonna have to break his chops on that
Yeah,
one.
great.
Well, I'm hoping there's no close-up photos.
Yeah, how was the copy?
I don't want to know how you meet your friends.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh man. By the way, another bomber TO as well. Wow, those are nice. Um, some nice radios here. Got a Crosley
Grizzly
below.
dashboard.
Crosley dashboard, you got a painted
Yeah.
hippo there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure what's underneath that bomber though. That with the
Is that a silver?
not sure what that is.
I think I see
I
something.
think it's an RCA.
Maybe. I can't. There's something here. I can't read it. Nice stuff though.
Philco 4 tube cathedral.
Oh, there's that lonely predictor.
Yeah,
That's
there we
mine.
go.
Could be one of mine.
That's what you want to buy if you need help with practicing your 4 and 5 letter words.
Yeah, right.
I had 3 of them.
You guys are familiar with the comedian and puppeteer Jeff Dunham?
Oh yeah.
We saw that video.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah.
He's got all 5 versions of the predictor.
Yeah.
They're working, and he paid dearly for all of them.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
most of mine for very short money, and then put the sweat equity into them.
Yeah, well.
But that's a good set to like have one of those soldering competitions on.
Let's solder off.
The worst one they made is the one that had that one where you could actually pick up the picture tube and had this long cable.
Right.
So you can walk it around and everything. Oh, the Philco repair guys love those.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had one of those, but then again, I never wanted to, so.
Okay, let's see. We got an Admiral. Is this a Fada?
That's a Theta.
And then
I got 2 Zeniths, one Bakelite and one Wooden that are literally the same radio.
Yeah. And let's see. Is this a GE over here?
That's an Emerson.
That's right. You're right. I stand corrected.
That's an Emerson. There's 2. I think there's Sony's right
Yep.
behind there.
Definitely Sony's. I think they're twin, same model.
The thing with the white knobs on the right, that's a pre-war. I actually have that radio. That's a pre-war RCA 5A85.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're the right knobs though. They didn't put white knobs on that.
Yeah, it
looks cool.
At first, I thought that was a Zenith you brought home with you, Bob.
I literally brought one of them home.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it from this guy. That guy wanted too much money for me.
Oh, okay.
What TV is this? These are kind of cool.
I forget what they call those things. There was a couple of names for them. Wellatron, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, there's like the Weller stuff, Welly or whatever. Yeah.
And a single speaker over there on the
I think one of those TVs were leaking. You see the oil on the floor. Wait, somebody need to regasket that. Maybe re-ohm them so they don't leak.
Yeah, TV oil. You can see it. It's right under I think it's under the TV.
And that's a mono speaker, isn't it?
Yes, it would be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it could be half of a stereo. You never know, but
yeah, they're hard to differentiate.
Maybe he's got the other one at the other end of the bench there. The table.
Oh.
Maybe he has the other one on the other side. For true stereo sound, one on each end.
There you go. Okay, so you got some smaller transistors.
A mixed bag of solid state stuff there.
Anybody,
Yeah.
yes. Probably some Emersons.
There's actually a couple cool transistors there.
Yeah.
What's that big boomer down there on the right-hand side of the table?
Yeah, I think I'm
That's a hotel radio, I think.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
One
say
of
it
those
looks like a
coin op
op
deals.
Right.
Yeah.
Very industrial looking.
Indeed. Ooh, look at this. What do we got here? This is
pretty
Siemens. Ooh, very attractive looking with the cabinet work and a tuning eye. It's probably one of those really hard to get, like, EM34s or something that, are unobtainium. But very nice looking radio. Probably early mid-30s, probably mid-30s, I'd say. Oh, look, a mannequin head, a mannequin radio.
Display from costs.
You got some. Oh, I think is that one of those TVs in the back? Is that a
Yep.
Wellotron.
Wellotron. Thank you. That's what it is. I was trying to think of the name.
And the orange one. Look at that baby.
Yeah, I know. Look at that. That's kind of cool. The heck is that? Sony?
It says Sony on it.
Yeah, no baloney, man.
No baloney.
That's quite a piece.
Cool butterfly behind is nice too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. There's a big contrast.
Age gap.
Yeah, exactly. But the mannequin radio, that's something.
If you need
Somebody's got a glue fetish there. I mean, there's awful lot of glue on that table.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You're gonna give up sniffing glue.
Yeah, there we go. Well bond.
It's like all those bad airplane movie references. Well, it looks like I picked a bad week to stop booting heroin,
Right. Classic movie. Classic movie. Oh, whoa, look at that.
Oh, there's some radios.
Take a look at that piece up there. Wow. Oh. See if I can move this. There we go. I'm not sure what that is.
That is a really good looking radio.
It is. I mean, the
It's so Art Deco. Wish I knew what that is.
There's something on that label. I just can't tell you for sure. At least I think so, but I'm at maximum and I just can't tell. But boy, that's interesting. Maybe we'll get maybe it's a better photo later. It's actually, this one below is unusual because it's just not that dial face doesn't look obvious to me. This one right below it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a Sonora.
Hard to say. The script looks longer than, well.
Yeah, it does.
Sentinel? No.
Sentinel.
Yeah, maybe that's a Sentinel.
Yeah, that looks like a interesting dial, dial face. I think it is. The script looks about right for a Sentinel. At least from what I can tell. This is kind of curious. This one over here, got a couple of Zenith here. I'm not sure what this is. Is that a
Emerson?
Emerson?
Little cigar, the other cigar box above the Zenith, I think, is Emerson.
Okay. The other one's starts getting hard to tell, but maybe we'll see better. Maybe it's a better photo later.
Couple big Atwaters.
Oh, nice.
With some old stuff here.
Wow.
And some lamps or something. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Model T lamps.
3.
Yeah, they're big. They are big. They're cool. They're pretty cool though. Wonder if they're like train related. They look really big to be, like obviously car related. They look.
He must have had good prices because I don't remember seeing any of that stuff.
Yeah, it probably went quick.
Yeah. I was there by first thing Friday, and none of that looks familiar.
There is this curious, all this old stuff, this little TV radio thing in the corner there. Oh, here we go, something old and very shiny. Not sure what this is. That looks restored. It looks very shiny in there with all the mirror and
Three dialers and regens just do not sell anymore
yeah.
No.
at all.
Yeah, I think there's some truth behind it. I think
No, last year I was literally standing at my table and some guy walked up to me and he pulls three dialers out of his trunk and puts it on my table. He says, "You're interested?" I said, "Well, I could be. What do you want for them?" He says, "I just want to get rid of them. Give me $20. And all three of them had the O1As in them. Or no, wait a minute. Two of them had O1As. The other one was the Radial 18. It had all the tubes in that, including the 71A. It's like amazing. These things were big money, years ago. Now they're almost giving them away.
yeah.
Well, I paid $350 for a Freed Eastman probably 20 years ago, and now, like you say, you couldn't give one away.
Yeah.
People still collect the horns, but they don't want the
Yeah, the horns are worth more than the radios. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, there's less to tune into, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. It just becomes a big
I think though, with
paperweight.
in the case of the horn thing, though, they were kind of a very narrow window because they only made horn speakers for what, 6 years or 7 years, something like that. So they're, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
One of our club members, he's got a huge collection of 3 dialers, and he's going to be moving, and both of the major auction houses turned them down.
Wow.
Estes and Sargent. There's no
It's a shame.
market for all those.
Interesting. That's too bad. Oh, here we go.
There's some neat stuff.
Some good looking. Is it AK?
Bilko, get the number.
What is this? An airline? What is this?
Airline looks like, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually an attractive radio.
Huh. Very early Monkey Awards.
Look, take a look at the left-hand side of that picture. You see the guy's jacket?
Yep.
Yeah.
I put that in my video. I love that jacket. It's just, I really need to save money. And then right below it says, "Oh, look, a radio."
Oh, some truth behind that.
That is the best thing I've seen, man, in a long time. It was great.
Some interesting sets up above there too. Oh, that's the other end of the photo, because this is what this one up here is the interesting, but it's not super clear what some of these are.
One on the very end, I think, is an Emerson.
Yeah, I would buy that. Yeah, I agree. And yeah.
Well, those are the same radios we just saw, but they were on a different angle now.
Exactly right. We're just looking at that really interesting one is the far end now. Yeah. That guy has some interesting stuff to sell. Okay, some test equipment, indeed.
The little white one is valuable. That's a little.
That's Emerson, I think.
Yeah, those are very collectible.
Yeah, that is nice.
I put a yellow one in my video, and I forget what the number was, but it's kind of like the unobtainium number. I think it was like $2,500 or some crazy number.
Ooh, a Revox right there in the middle. Either a A77 or a B77 tape deck.
It's got the Bell logo on it. Bell Gap.
RCA Radiotronics there. That's pretty cool.
Yes. The puppet.
Yeah. Some cool stuff here. Okay, more older stuff. You got some tubes lying about. Some blue tubes. Yep, another close-up again. Science laboratory equipment. Yep, more.
There's a crystal set there.
Yeah, crystal
sets.
Yeah. A Victrola behind.
John, can you go back one slide?
Sure.
I believe I have that crystal set in the center there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
It says
Pinko something.
Pinkatone.
Pinkatone. Yeah, that's it.
Pinkatone. Wow. Wow. How interesting. I've never even heard the name. Pinkatone. That's pretty cool. Okay, now here's some interesting pieces here. Look at this one here. What is that? Is that a little? It says Little Giant.
Huh.
Little Giant. Well, that's
jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's a really handsome looking cabinet. This is unusual. I guess some clock and radios together combined. I got a couple of transistors.
We saw that other one on the right, earlier
Zenith.
photo, but it's a totally different setting. So maybe
Yeah, I wonder if he moved things around because I mean, look at
same
this.
radios on a different table, or I don't know. Oh yeah, because then there's that
Yeah.
weird white plastic.
We saw this before, but it's just
Yeah.
shot on a different angle.
Yeah, and I think he probably had time to set up and move things around because this was obscured. But
Right.
yeah, this is very unusual. The woodwork is just really unusual. Very nice.
There's a good number.
Yeah, that's a hardy one. But if it's restored, well, you would certainly put one of the few kids on the block with one of them for sure.
If you buy it for that price, you get the little white plastic one for free.
Yeah, right. That's ought to be. No, this is nice. The beautiful artwork here. Some of these early sets, speakers and all. Got a Philco. It looks like some Philco. Oh, this is a curious little system. Oh, it's sitting in a box. It's not really. I don't think it's really. It's just by
Well, it
happenstance.
looked like it was angled, but it's sitting in a box, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit strange, but
The guy that looks like he's got the towel wrapped around his head, his name is Tom. He's the vice president of DVHRC, and he's a big Philco guy.
yeah, I guess so. Given all the Philco,
The license, he's got a Pennsylvania license plate on his car with the word Philco on it.
Oh, okay.
Does he the one
as
that
you can
does
see,
the
he's not
repro
shy about
signs?
Philco.
Sorry, what was
Bob,
it?
is he the one that does the repro signs?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I remember the last time I was there, somebody did one with a backlight to it.
Well, I see that weird like purple radio, and then I'm almost positive I've got the 8-track player, but it's not orange like the one that's there on the table. I'm wondering if like
this one right here,
the red one.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got one of those. Actually, I got two of those, but
And who makes that, Noah?
I don't know. I forget. I mean, they're just
I think GE made one of them.
Battery operated portable 8-track players. As you know, I have too many 8-tracks.
Ah, yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Almost looks like the little purple Philco. They did some patching on the speaker. Look like it has some white coffee filter, filtered paper on there.
I don't know why that got painted Barney purple.
Barney.
And again, that's why I'm suspicious about the orange 8-track, because both of mine are kind of a silver gray color. But
yeah, you may be onto something there. There's a guy doing live.
Peter Week doing repairs. He does that at every show. He'll sit there and start working on radios.
And now live organ transplant.
He's been doing that for years and years, as long as I can remember.
Like Kazakh. Oh, here's your problem. There's no plus anymore. I think you need a new rectifier.
Just before that happened, he had a full set of hair.
Because I just
oh, a carcass. Ooh,
yeah.
He's pretty sad looking. I guess it's all there, but it's almost almost a basket case, but not quite.
I forget what that is. Craig, you know what that is?
Is
It's
that such a
cool.
silver Marshall?
I think that might be what it is.
I mean,
It's
that's a cool
unusual.
thing. It's like you restore the chassis while you ship the cabinet to Greg.
Oh, like brilliant. Brilliant. That's a good point.
Then you got a great running radio to push into your great looking cabinet.
Yeah,
when
it's
Greg
true.
ships it back to
What
It's a great
what
point.
was the manufacturer? They used to have full page ads in the back of the radio magazines. Midwest or
Midwest, that could be what it is too.
that's what it's looking like to
Oh,
me.
yeah. That maybe, that sounds right. We only get it.
that's almost a call it a mini Crosley WLW or something.
And you could buy it without the cabinet or anything.
Yeah. It's kind of like what the Scots were. You know, you could buy just a chassis and put it in different cabinets.
Right.
I mean, chassis looks clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are those big ballast tubes in the back?
I don't know. They might be like 6L.
It might be just
well, that's what I thought at first.
Yeah,
but
metal
boy, they're
6L6s.
awful tall.
Yeah. They're 6L6s, metal ones.
You think?
Yeah,
Okay.
6L6s. It's a boomer.
Oh yeah. Push pull.
That to save room.
Rock the house with that baby.
Well, you can see why the varnish came off that side, the top side there.
Yeah.
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 Just
No,
from
but it doesn't have
shock.
the acoustic labyrinth in it. It's not going to blast.
Just from shock and vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And heat.
Ooh.
That was beautiful.
That's a good looking photo. Oh, here we go.
Ooh, I want the lamp.
Black
Black
Zenith.
Zenith.
I want the rocket lamp.
The rocket lamp, and then
I want to put the rocket lamp next to my bar radio when I, those are the two things I need to get that I'll probably never get.
That's a huge RCA.
yeah, it
RCA
is.
128, I think.
Boy, that's gorgeous. Look at the woodwork.
That is a nice playing and sounding radio. It's like a boat anchor though.
Oh my gosh.
Heavy radio.
Yeah. This is a two-person job. Otherwise, you're Izzy Mandelbaum.
I mean, if
It's
I'm
go
gonna
time.
if I'm going to get something that's that big and that's heavy, it's got to be a Stromberg Carlson. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
or get a pilot. They're pretty heavy too.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, baby.
37 or 39.
Yeah. I somehow fancy
Well,
this.
the
I
one
fancy
on the
this
right
one.
is, I think they call that the Zephyr.
Yeah, it's kind of a Zephyr.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Like
got
I like
that
both.
nice-
I particularly like the one on the right, the Zephyr.
The one on the
It's got all the tabs.
one on
Those
the right
tabs are
looks-
always broken or missing though.
Right.
And the
It
little
looks
buttons, they're all there on
suspiciously-
that one though.
It looks suspiciously like the radio that's got like absolutely no insulation on the wiring inside of
Yeah, it was getting to that era.
it.
The one on the left still had cloth, but I think by 39, yeah, they were using that Chromebook stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, but the nice thing is those wires are spaced so well you can live without the insulation.
Maybe I could if I had it in my house, but if I'm fixing it for a friend, I gotta change it,
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Yeah, and if the radio doesn't work out, you can make it a kegerator.
There you go.
Cool.
There's one in beds.
Yeah, this was bad ones. Was it Mitchell or
Mitchell Lullaby.
Yeah.
I like that Zenith.
Yeah, me too.
I got the battery portable and then that
Yeah.
lamp with the Zenith logo on it. That's kind of
That's
cool.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean the lampshade's worth more than the rest of the radio.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is kind of cool. What the heck is that?
Mouse.
So what is that?
It's an airplane
Yeah,
An
I'm
airplane
saying,
crashing into the
yeah,
earth.
yeah.
Gator
It's
flies
about
around in
Rushmore.
circles.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that.
that's
Will Rogers, and
Ah,
Wiley Post, So that's Wiley
Wow.
Post was a famous flyer back in the. He had the endurance flyers.
Wow.
Oh, he's got antique poker chips there.
yeah.
That's yeah.
can you? Yeah, I was wondering what is the bulb on top, or the not the bulb, but the
Shade?
shades. Is it supposed to be like an aircraft light?
Too bright.
Not sure. Yeah, I'd have to see with that off to see, but it's pretty. It's unusual. It's pretty cool in its own.
I think that thing. Yeah, it's turned on.
I wonder if that one didn't come out like 1935 as a memorial because those two were flying together when Will Rogers was killed and the
Right.
pilot.
Right. That's right. And Wiley Post. Yeah, like I said, Wiley Post was a
Yeah, there's a plane crashing.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, maybe that's what it is.
exactly.
Wow, a memorial to wow. That's unusual. An unusual tribute.
Yeah.
Because Wiley Post, I think, also had an eye patch.
Yeah, he's a one-eyed pilot.
Yeah. Because I think that's his eye patch right there.
Yeah.
And this kind of looks like Will Rogers.
Yeah.
What's it say on the wing, on the upper wing? The
W12 is W.
Oh, it says WR.
WR. I'm sorry. There you go. It looked like a number.
Okay.
Will Rogers
Will
and probably
Rogers, WR.
maybe
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what it says here. It
over
says almost like 20. I'm not really sure.
I mean, is it just a lamp or is there some hidden radio type thing in there? Is it?
I think it's just a lamp.
Yeah, maybe you have to see the back to be sure, but yeah, I suspect you're right, Carl.
Definitely one of a kind.
Yeah, I know. I've never seen such an item.
Well, I never.
My
saw
wife
that-
would be
I
so
never saw
pleased if
that
I
Zenith
brought that
radio
home.
with the lampshade.
Really?
Her face would have just lit up.
As bright as the lamp.
Yeah, red.
You would have seen it at Brookline.
With a curious imprint of Carl's head on it.
Right. And a very low price.
But it's Wiley Post and Will Rogers. Yeah. Well, they'll put the will, your last will and testament.
You're right.
We all got to be of a certain age to even know who Will Rogers was.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, face it, we all just know about him. We don't.
Yeah.
He predates all of us.
Yeah.
I was gonna say my grandparents told me about him.
Right.
But if nothing else, you're bound to hear him when you hear it around Christmas time because he invariably plays, one of his songs. So if you've never seen the movie, you're probably going to hear him. Most people hear him. They just don't know anything about him. Okay, wow, we got, was that military gear? Or
Yep.
This is test, military.
PRC 19.
Wow. We got we got quite a host of stuff. You got, turntable. That is this over here.
Cassette player.
Cassette deck. Well, it's a combined AM, yeah.
With side firing speakers.
I'm trying to see what it says, who makes this, because it's never seen that sort of design before, but there you have it.
IVA.
IVA, I see that. I didn't even know who. So IVA actually a maker? I didn't even know who they existed. Curious. Cables, wire.
Parts is parts.
Parts is parts. Oh, I can say that this is an E-mood over here, and the little corner there. Vintage radio.
You recognize just by the corner.
Okay, let's see. We got
Heathkit
Was it
Mohican.
Mohican?
Mohican. Yeah, he's Mohican.
Huh. There's an
Late Mohican.
ICO amp over there, I think.
Yeah, look at
Yeah, I
the size
think-
of the transformers on that thing.
Yeah. That'll break a back or two. It's go time.
Must
Couple
be like a
monoblocks there,
Macintosh type
yeah.
trifilar wound audio output transformer.
Wow.
Some tank coils.
There we go. You get a little close up of this
Look
beast.
at that.
The tubes alone in that are worth a lot.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet this must be like, what, barely 1920, early 20s.
30s, early 30s, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Newer than I thought.
Late 20s, early 30s.
This is quite the beast.
Yeah, you got a what's that? A late model 80 tube there in the back corner on the left.
Yeah, but I don't think that's part of it. I think,
Oh,
No, I think that's
yeah, because I saw that thing when he took it out.
oh,
And I wasn't even going to ask.
Yeah, it looks like it's sitting behind that thermos bottle, like it's something else.
an antenna tuner.
Antenna tuner. Mm.
No, antenna tuning.
Tuning.
Oh,
Antenna tuning.
on that
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, because you got there's the oscillator in the middle. I don't know. I think the oscillator's over on the right.
EHU Canada Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, that's funny. I just ran into that. It's funny you said that, Noah.
That's about all that picks up anymore, but
Yeah. And a vintage thermos of some sort? Stanley. Microphones.
Yikes.
Lots of them.
Wow.
This guy had a real impressive stand of mics.
Opera radio. Wow. Some cool stuff there. Test equipment.
Testers.
There's a Hickok.
Ooh,
There's
Heathkit.
another audio
$200.
amplifier.
How much did he want for that amp? 20? Oh, man.
200. No, it's a 200.
Oh, 200.
A dollar a pound, Joe. A dollar a pound.
And it's mono, so I think it's mono, so you need another one.
Oh, no, you don't. One's good enough.
I still have 2 ears.
Sort of a perspective on various people looking a bit chilly.
I know. Boy.
Warmed up. Looks like it's March, not May.
Maybe February.
Whoops, sorry about that. There we go.
Early.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I didn't know how many times I hit that. Yeah, look at that. Wow. And look at the nice Emerson behind it. That's a pretty set.
There's the one with the antenna flipped out.
Yes, you're
Yes.
right. There it is.
And it's a sale price. Sale.
Yeah, as I recall, the sale price. But yeah, that was a really nice setup. What you can't, if you look very carefully, you can see that the side of the antenna is got wood
Okay.
on it. It's solid, so that rotates and
Ah,
sits within that
see
There's a
thing
break.
here.
case, and then the whole thing closes, and that's the front of the radio. And I've never seen a picture of that, but I mean, that's some nice woodworking.
That's clever. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the model of that radio. I want to say it was GE.
I think that was like a Radiola 24 or some obscure RCA.
Yeah, 26 or
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember looking at that real hard.
I thought that was
really
so
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is neat. It is, and it's a nice condition on top of it.
Yeah.
This is kind of curious, and I was just trying to find this little radio in front of it.
Yeah.
Is that because it's not very deep? Is that really? It's not like a knockoff, is it?
I would say it's probably repop.
Yeah. Okay. It's actually kind of cool. Whatever was done is actually not bad looking. Here we go. More stuff. Oh, haha. I have this very clock sitting at home here. Telecron. Yay. Ashland is appropriately represented. But some nice clocks here.
Stromberg Carlson.
Oh, okay, up there. All right. And
Yep.
then
That's RCA.
Mm-hmm.
The wood one's an RCA.
Let's see.
Got the
And
I think that one's at Belmont.
that
Oh no, they ain't at Belmont. Oh, maybe they. Oh, there's got the ribbon in it.
Not sure
Oh,
that
no,
says.
it's not at Belmont.
No, I don't think that says Belmont. Do you mean this one right here?
Oh, it says Delco.
Delco. Yeah, that's
Okay.
and this is a Grundig. The model number. It's really mono. It's actually twin speaker, but it's a mono. It's actually nice. It's not a bad radio. It's not a bad radio at all. I don't know what he's asking, but yeah, yeah. If I'm going to do that, I'd rather get the same style with tubes. The Grundigs. That's what I've got. And I'd rather do that. They're perfectly fine, but telephones and an old radio, some speakers.
Sky Buddy.
Sky Buddy, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wrong tuning knobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Philco Cathedral's there.
Yeah.
And see, the coils up top are part of one of the, I think the Allied regen.
Oh, okay. See him.
Okay.
Which is underneath it. You can't.
Ah, okay. I see. Boulevard. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I think that's around 1958. It's missing the knobs though.
Yeah.
But the
clock radio.
Gobs and knobs was there, so you could have just gone over.
Yeah, you just go across the Mike Costi stand and get some knobs from him.
Yeah.
Right. I was wondering how much business he really does.
He's there every year. Or
He's there every year, yeah.
Maybe he walks around and takes the knobs off other radios.
That's where the knobs went.
Walks around, takes the knobs off the radios and resells.
For sale. It's like stripping a car and parting it out.
You look like you need some knobs for that.
Oh, I just happened to have a set for that.
$30 each. What?
Look, it's Haley's Comet.
Oh, bad.
Oh boy, look at those. Interesting.
Some really weirdos on there.
Yeah.
On the left.
Looks
that
like
one in the middle is a radar tube with the
this one here.
Grid. Nope. There you go. The squat one to the left, up, back. There you go.
All right, there we go. Oh, really interesting.
And you could get them for next to nothing after World War II. In fact, Joe, you've got a couple of them.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few things there I have, Carl.
Yeah, and QST had several articles on how to make 2-meter amplifiers out of them.
Interesting.
Well, the tall one's either a 5T or a 6T. Probably a 6T.
It's like a 6.
I had a 5T. That was a nice sounding radio.
Is this an RCA or?
RCA.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with the 5Ts because they had 2 runs of those things. I don't know if it was the earlier run or the later run, but some of them had really small transformers in them. And I had one of them, and the transformer went bye-bye. And I found a cheap Chinese one with the same taps on it off of eBay, but it took me 7 months to get it.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
I got it directly from China, but I think the transformer cost me all of like $30 with shipping.
I think the 5T, the cabinet wasn't quite as deep.
Yeah.
Did they make
that's probably a 6T, I
as
think.
well? Because I think I have a 7T here.
Yep.
That I'm I
17 was tall. Yeah, I've got.
yeah. I fixed that one for one of my college buddies about 5 years ago, and he used it constantly for like 3.5 years until he started to smell something funny, and then he luckily turned it off. And I think they had the same transformer issue, but it turned out not to be, thankfully, not the transformer. It was
Candle?
one of those the weird. I'm
Candle.
not going to give it the right name, but the weird resistor with the taps on it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
candle.
Yep.
Yeah. Those tend to go up in flames, so I replaced the sections of that thing with, sand covered, wire wound, whatever's, and that seemed to fix it.
Oh, German for sure. Maybe
I think that might be a Philco.
It's a Philco Tropic.
Oh, you're right. I remember because it looks so European-like that it's very easy to confuse. I believe you guys are absolutely right. It's pretty cool. I like this one.
They're actually very good radios. They have push-pull audio in them too, I think.
I want to say Paul Burish has one, but I could be wrong. I thought he had something that kind of looked like that, but I could be wrong. This is some few years back.
I got one sitting in the queue.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. You have to give us some when you're done with it, Steve, or you'll have to give us a close up.
Looks like a good sized speaker in there.
Yeah, I'd say so. That looks like a good 8 inches easy.
I'll say one restoration issue that mine has is that behind those knobs there is a leather insert, and mine's kind of beat up. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do about that. I saw on Antique Radio Forum some guy took some oil paints and kind of touched up the tried to imitate the grain of the leather. I'm not sure I'm artistic enough to pull that off.
Yeah, you can see the dilemma.
Upholstery shop.
There you go.
Get a new piece of leather.
Cut up your belt.
Oh, this is close to that table we saw earlier. It's just the TV.
And the speaker.
Yes, indeed.
That same seller has been carrying around that Orange County chopper clock for like 10 years. He can't sell that thing. Either he wants too much money.
Oh, Saba. This is
I
Saba
put
fiber.
that radio on my video. If you watch my video, my wife actually got a great shot of that thing in action. That's got seek and fine tuning on it.
Yeah, if you see these switches below are the control the automatic tuner. So you hit it, it just mechanically scrolls up to the dials up to the next station, and it's when it's all they're very persnickety when they're all sorted out. They're great. I had a Saba 300 with it, and I resorted to manual tuning because mine was kept bouncing off of the station. It took a bit, and I was like, okay, this is just over, this is not going anywhere. So I just the one thing you can disable, there's a switch that allows you to disable the automatic tuner. You can just in fact when it's enabled, there's a light. I think this one says it's enabled, if memory serves. I think there is a separate light. Yes, it says it's on, and it's interesting, one must be for stereo because this one is this signal, one maybe.
Well, one I think is
the mono tuning. Yes, there's two separate. This is the Freiburg. Freiburg was the top of the line Saba. They named those after German cities, and I think they're probably because they were presumably either factories or associated with making Sabas. Because they had
I stood in front of this radio, John, and it sounded fantastic. It was
these things command serious dollars. He's asking $1,300 for it, which is pricey. This looks like if it's fully restored and completely sorted out, and it looks to be in such nice shape. The grill cloth looks correct. Everything looks right. And this is one of the last Freiburgs too.
It had some small crazing on the locker on top, but not a lot.
If that's original finish, you leave it. Yeah. You
The
know,
the radio itself was perfect. I according to the owner, or the guy I got from the owner from it, it's all original. It's never been serviced.
wow.
So
Okay,
it's
well,
probably really low hours, but
maybe.
all the features work on it.
Yep. That's the only. I would feel better at 1300 if it were sorted out in the chassis, just gone through, because these things are very complicated, radios, because there's just a lot in there. They throw all the bells and whistles, but the sound, the green cone speakers are, pretty much revered in those radios, and they are 5 speakers total. So there's two, one each side, plus you have this one in the middle, which is like a mid-range, and they get the two beasts on either side. So, and it's stereo. And I think it accepts additional outputs for speakers. So you can throw in other speakers at it, so you can go crazy with this thing. Um, if this were fully restored, I'd be saying, yeah, 1300 is probably fair, because think of all the hours or how much you'd spend to have someone do it for you. You'd probably say, okay,
Still has a germanium rectifier.
yeah, that's right. Beautiful. I mean, this is probably 63, 4, something just before the last of those mighty Freiburg tube stereos. I think there were like 11 or 12 tubes. I think it's like at least 2 EL84 output tubes on this thing. So it won't disappoint, won't disappoint. But yeah. Oh, guys, it's 9:09. Well, we can go a few minutes longer if you guys want. I don't want to hold you guys up, because we've sort of slipped past the hour.
That's the auction preview.
Yeah, I guess so. And then speaking of German, that's a German radio. I don't know whether it's a Schaub Lorenz. That looks like it, but I can't swear to it. But it looks like a Schaub. I don't know what this thing is. I don't know what that thing does. I don't know what that is, but I don't. But at any rate, actually, let me just see how many pictures are left, because it'll give me a clue as to whether this is pointless and that we should just pick this up another time here. So I'll be able to see the full setup, the full Monty here of where we are roughly. So we're here, and there's still a fair amount to see. Why don't I hold these off? Because we will have next meeting will be a round robin.
John, I don't think there are that many if we go through them quickly.
All right, I can do that. Sure. Why don't we go,
Yeah.
we'll
I'm
go.
going to head out here because I have to get up.
You got to go down, because you go down so far, and then.
Yeah, I'm here. So I'm right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I'm here. Just whoops. There we go. So we can go some of the stuff that was being auctioned off. Just so
You're not going to.
And some more variety of stuff, test equipment, stuff like that.
Ooh.
But some nice some beautiful sets there. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Set down here. I'm not sure who makes that, though. I can't get a good look at that. This is pretty. Firestone. Looking for you. One of those French. Oh no, Russian. I strike that. It looks so much like that's a Russian radio, because we got the big red star.
Yeah. Copy of the French.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And of course, an appropriate red. Only tunes into Radio Moscow. And this looks familiar. I think we were here.
Yeah, we saw that one.
Yeah, we saw that one.
This is kind of fun. Radio dealer. That's kind of a neat old sign. Speakers. That's another viewpoint, I think, of another angle of this table. Oh, here's some pretty early 30s, mid 30s sets. Wow, some of these are really good looking. What do we have here? Whoops, sorry about that. An RCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't we see that before with the offset?
Oh, you're
Knob,
right.
yep.
We just get a direct hit. Okay, you
Yeah.
are 100% right. Yeah, there's that fridge radio. We're just
Yep.
seeing things moved around. People, vintage people. I guess he probably looks the oldest of the of there. In case you're
I
looking.
think he's been restored.
I know. I see some smoke though coming up.
Short circuit somewhere.
Yeah. Another picture of the
Okay.
smoke off another angle.
I think this is Saturday. Look at the sun.
Yeah, exactly. You can see.
It's a rocket lamp.
Yeah, from the distance, but it's just beautiful Emerson right here. That's very nice. And a Fada Model 790 below it.
No, Zenith.
Yeah, Zenith's here. And Crosley. And another Zenith, I think. Yep, on top. I've seen it. I haven't seen it in this color. I've seen it in white.
Bendix.
Yep. And it's a Zenith way in the distance there. You always see some variation.
I've never seen that in that color though.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually, I wonder if that was.
I wondered.
Yeah, why if someone painted that. Ah, book radio.
Radio.
Yeah, Dave. In fact, I think David Spivey might have a similar looking one when he gave us a presentation a few meetings back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Is that there's that Philco, I guess. Is that? Looks like it. Just a,
Yes. That's
these are kind of some curious stuff. GE, I think there in the middle. Sylvania, is that right? I think so. No. Yeah. Sylvania, I think. It's just this is curious. I have no idea what this is. I know it's newer, but it's curious. Oh, here's a Westinghouse below. This is kind of neat. It's an AM FM radio. I kind of like the design on that, the waterfall style dial face. I think it's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind.
Gary Norman was with me, and he bought one of those completely wrecked.
Yeah.
And he bought it because he's got another one at home he's been redoing. He's got silver mica disease. So he just wanted it for he didn't care if it looked like hell. I didn't see that one. It looks nice when it's fixed up.
Yeah, it looks, and they have like separate lights for when there's AM or FM is on. It's a
Yeah.
nifty looking radio. I like it. I would not mind it in my house. My wife might though. The famous town crier, we see those on and off.
That's a Silvertone radio.
Yeah, Silvertone.
The guy wanted 250 for it. The paint's all fallen off.
Yeah, it seems that.
I've never seen the model before, but and it's got the matching speaker, which is probably
the BS.
unobtainium.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was for the set?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was needed a lot of love.
Yeah. So a pan out of a lot of stuff. A little more pan out. What can I do to get you in this baby today? No credit, no problem. Okay. They have to play the Sanford and Son theme music when you're looking in this table like this.
That's his empire. Yeah.
My empire. Okay, there's maybe some diamonds in the rough. There's Zenith, $40, I think, marked down. Looks mostly complete there. Record player over here. I don't know what this is. I guess
Mike's again, yep.
Microphone.
crooning in front of the microphones.
Yeah.
Okay, got some record players. Yeah. Tubes. Another angle of those tube, the table of tubes. This is interesting.
Ooh,
This is
Magic keyboard.
Wow, that's unusual.
Can you move your cursor and try to see what magic keyboard, huh?
Yeah, magic keyboard.
Never seen that.
Ditto.
They call it a spade because on the side it's shaped like a spade. I'm trying to remember what the brand name is on it. So.
Yeah, these are pretty rare.
Yeah.
See this very often. Wow.
Charlie.
Yep. A variety of stuff. You got the candy cane in the background. This is curious. Is that a toy car? That's unusual. It makes me wonder what that is. A fire. It says fire. I think it's a fire car, but I'm just wondering, what is this? What does this thing do? That's pretty neat though. What if it's a motorized car?
I think the cord goes to the lamp.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, maybe I've got that wrong. I was just sitting on the car, but
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Now I understand. Somehow I thought they were connected. You're right, Carl. Good eyes. Basically, there's some vintage toys up there. I see these little cars with probably, pretty old toys. Kind of fun to see. This is kind of interesting. This
Silco.
Silco, yeah. I don't see that design very often.
Transitone.
Yeah. Up there's a Westinghouse behind there. That's a Grundig over here. Like mid-50s, 56, 57 or so.
Looks like that's an original Coke radio too. They reproduced those.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks right. Yeah, because it's just got the AM. The reproduction, I think, was AM FM, if memory serves.
I like the Grundig.
Yeah, that's not bad looking. They have yeah, it's a nice beast. Okay, more early stuff. Yeah, puts up some early stuff. More early stuff. Radiola, maybe?
Yep. Radio 25.
Speakers and early stuff. Yeah, maybe the stable shifts. Maybe stuff has shifted around, or that's kind of interesting. Yeah. That Emerson. Yeah, I think you just jockey stuff around. There's a little better picture of that really stunning Zenith we were admiring earlier.
I think that's a different one.
Oh, you're right.
Model.
Oh, okay. Maybe you're right. Oh, you're right, Greg. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Different.
Yep. You are right.
That's a Crosley next to it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Tombstone, yep.
It's a EVHRC table. Is that a Belmont or Coronado?
Yep. Yeah, without the label, it's hard to tell because they're identical.
Yeah, I know that it's Hickok.
Pilot TV again.
I always wanted to get one of those Hickok meters.
It is pretty cool looking, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, this is a Sargent receiver. Sargent was a manufacturer in the 20s and 30s out of the West Coast, and this is one of the last receivers that they made.
Interesting.
It's the same guy with the Silvertone.
See some rare rare stuff.
Yeah, he had some interesting stuff.
Tube tester?
That's a rabbit.
Oh, that's the rabbit.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I remember seeing that's the famous rabbit.
Yeah.
Some chatting.
Keep moving, keep moving. I'll go back. The other picture was better.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Some
Water
breadboard.
camp breadboard.
Yeah.
Boy, they've come down in price too.
I'll
Yeah.
bet they have, yeah. They were insane.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all these Zeniths, still these little early transistor radios. Nicely done.
They were not cheap.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, $75. I just happened to see, just grab the price on this one right here. Oh, back to early stuff. Uh-oh. Something is going to be sacrificed. It doesn't look promising.
Saturday night, they have a bonfire.
Yeah. That one was going to be the sacrificial.
And that's one of the bar radios.
Oh, geez. And
So
Greg's
the
saying,
glasses
oh,
are- What?
and Greg's looking at it saying, that'll take me about 15, 20 minutes. I can get that done.
With plastic and glue, you can get that veneer back down again.
Yeah, that's it. Little almost glue, you're all set.
Go stock up on glue from that other guy who was selling it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You need it by the truckload, though. Oh, okay. Got for a nice range of Zeniths and other pieces. Something German behind here. I want to say that made in it's a Grundig 3045. I recognize that now.
Boy, you're good.
Boy, you're good. You recognize it from the back cover.
It does say in the back, but I saw as soon as I saw the Grundig Majestic, I realized, okay, it's a US model. And then you look, as soon as I saw that, I looked over to the left, said, oh, yep, USA, and then it says 3045.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, you didn't have to tell us. We would have just
This will be the video.
Yeah, it's a video. Guess we'll have to pass on that, but we went a little overboard. But that was good. We hit the end of the pictures, so
That's good.
that's not bad. We that was good. So next meeting will definitely be round robin and whatnot, and I know that because we ran overboard, lost a few people here, but it was great having you guys hanging in there despite it.
Thanks for doing it.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. Always good to see you guys on here. And I will send an email out. I may have to tweak the next meeting is supposed to be June 4th. I have a conflict that was imposed on me, so I probably have to shift it one day, maybe make it on Thursday the 5th. That is the probable case, unless anything changes on the 4th. I'll know probably in a few days before that whether it's a definite go, but I probably will have to reschedule. Apologize, guys, but this got put on me and I sort of should show up. Anyway, hope you guys have a great, try to hang in there with the awful weather we're going to get this weekend for the next day or two. So stay dry because and Carl, you'll be ready because you have your boat ready to travel across the country. So anyway, you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend and try to make the best of it. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, John.
Great seeing you. Take care of yourselves.
Right.
Bye.